You're listening to the Culips English podcast. To download the study guide for this episode, which includes the transcript, detailed vocabulary explanations, real-world examples, and a quiz, visit our website, culips.com. CULIPS.com. Hey everybody, my name is Andrew.
And I'm Suzanne.
And you're listening to Culips. Suzanne, today I think we have a really interesting topic.
Okay.
And that is Western weddings and Korean weddings. How are they similar? How are they different? And the reason I want to talk about this is that I just attended a Korean wedding a couple of days ago for one of my good friends here. And so I thought that our listeners might find this interesting, even if they're not from Korea, or even if they're not from the West. They can compare these two wedding cultures with their own wedding culture and see what's similar and what's different.
That's really, really interesting. I love comparing the cultural differences, especially at weddings. It's a pretty funny topic.
I was thinking, are there any cultures that don't have weddings? Like, I could imagine some ancient cultures, or maybe even some really maybe uncontacted cultures, like deep in the Amazon jungle or something. But I think these days almost all cultures and all countries have weddings and wedding ceremonies. So I think everyone can relate on some level to this topic.
I think so. I really do. Yeah. There's some form of ritual there for sure.
So before we start with our comparison,
yes,
I would like to tell all of the listeners that there's a study guide for this episode. And if you'd like to study with that, please visit culips.com, because that is the place where you can download it. And it's awesome. It's chock full of exercises and quizzes and questions that will really help your English grow. And we think it is the best way to study along with Culips. So once again, to get the study guide, just visit culips.com. All right, Suzanne, I have a question for you.
Yes.
You're American, but you've lived in Canada for a long time. So with American weddings, with Canadian weddings, where do they usually take place?
Well, more and more, I find weddings have gone from the church, so like the actual marriage ceremony at a church, to more of an outdoor or like a lake or a more neutral, pretty scenic area that's not really religious. That's what I've found more and more. It depends on the couple if they're religious, but I've only been to maybe 5 or 6 weddings that have actually been inside of a church in the US. In more modern times, I would say, they take place on a beach or in front of a lake or in a lovely mountain setting somewhere outside.
Or even a destination wedding, right? Where you travel to a different country or to Hawaii to have a wedding in a beautiful location.
Yeah, that's it. Exactly.
2 of my cousins got married within the last few years, and one of them got married at an airport in a hangar, an airport hangar, which actually was
Wow.
a dope venue because, it's big and it was a good place for dancing and music. And another of my cousins got married in a barn on a ranch.
Wow. That's fun.
It was empty, didn't have farm animals in the barn or airplanes in the hangar.
Yeah.
But the point here is that in the West, traditionally weddings were held in churches, but now really a wedding could be anywhere.
Yeah, it's true.
But in Korea, of course, there are probably exceptions to the rule, but every wedding that I've been to has always been held in a wedding hall.
Oh, okay. I've never heard about that.
Yeah, so a wedding hall is a building that has one function, and that is to have wedding ceremonies inside of it. So the wedding hall that I went to the other day had about 3 or 4 big rooms that are set up for weddings. They have all the tables and chairs set up for the guests. There's a raised runway down the middle where the bride and groom come in. So when they walk down the aisle, it's almost like a fashion show.
Yeah.
They're like on a catwalk.
Yeah.
There's a stage at the front. There's a house band. There's lighting and video. This is already pre-installed. The band are employees of the wedding hall. There's a singer who will sing a song for the couple, an employee of the wedding hall, and it's all set up for you. So you don't need to do anything.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a little bit bizarre to me because when I arrived at the wedding hall for my friend's wedding, I walked in and there were so many people in the lobby. And I was like, why are there so many people here? My friend's not that popular. Then I realized, there's like 5 weddings happening at the same time.
That's crazy.
And these are friends and family members from all these different people. So I had to look at the sign and figure out which room my friend was getting married in. So that is the first main difference that I noticed between Western weddings and Korean weddings, and that is location.
Yes, for sure.
Suzanne, another question for you.
Yes.
At a Western wedding, what do you do when you arrive? What is the first thing that you should do when you arrive at the wedding?
At the reception or the ceremony?
At the actual ceremony.
Usually you go and you sit down
Exactly.
and you sit either in the bride's side, on the bride's side, or the groom's side, depending on who you know. Or if it's a same-sex wedding, the one bride or the other bride, or one groom or the other groom, depending on who you know best, I guess.
Right, exactly. Kind of like whose friend you
Yeah.
are.
Or family member.
Yeah, exactly. But it is traditionally divided into you sit on the side of the person you're closest to or related to. But, okay, so Korea's different style. You arrive at the wedding hall, and first, you should do some greetings. So everybody in the wedding will be out in the main lobby except for the bride. So the groom and the groom's family and the bride's family are all there ready to greet you. And so you should say hello, what's up to the family.
Okay.
And then after that, instead of giving a wedding gift at a Korean wedding, you give money. Okay. And who doesn't like to receive money? I think this is actually quite a nice little tradition that Koreans have going on. And that is that you just give money to the newlywed couple. So you should go and pick up an envelope where you can put your money into, and then there is somebody in charge. You give them the money as a gift.
I find, though, that that's pretty common in Western weddings. I've never given anything but money. I've always given, unless, I mean, my sister's wedding, I gave her something personal too, like a special jewelry piece for her to wear on the wedding day. But every wedding I've ever been to, cousins, friends, family, we always, in France, in the US, in Canada, we put money in a card, cash.
Cash speaks.
And there's usually a big box or a house, like a little doll house or something. And you put the money in the house or the box. So maybe that's just a personal experience. I don't know.
That's awesome. I'm happy to hear that. So if I get married, I can receive money too.
Yeah.
That's good. The weddings that I've been to in Canada recently all had a gift registry where there was a list of things they wanted to receive, and we were just expected to choose an item from the list and give that as a gift. So a lot of people do that, but most couples nowadays, I find, live together for a bit before getting married. So they already have a lot of things. And most people maybe want to buy a house, or they want to, go on a honeymoon or do bigger things. And so money is easier than a toaster. Totally.
I had a friend, actually, a lot of people have done this. It's called a honey fund.
Okay.
And they post their trip of their honeymoon on the website. Instead of gifts, you can buy parts of their honeymoon. So one tour swimming with dolphins or something. You could buy like 1/4 of their plane ticket, kind of. Oh. And so this way they don't have to pay for everything. And this couple, they have a good life. They don't need things. They don't need, appliances and dishes and stuff. Mm-hmm. They just wanted a dream vacation.
Okay.
And so people contributed, but they also love to be philanthropic. Mm-hmm. So giving to charity. Mm-hmm. And so they made one part of the honey fund. You can donate to their favorite charity, and you can donate anything, $20, whatever.
Right.
And this was really cool because if you maybe don't have $200 to buy for a massage or something for their honeymoon, you could contribute $25 or $50 to their favorite charity, and they really appreciated that so much. So that was really cool. And just an FYI, one of the people in the couple is Korean.
Oh, okay.
Actually, but Korean American.
Korean American.
She's Korean American. Yeah, she's born in the US.
All right.
Anyway, I just thought that was funny. But that's a different kind of thing,
Yeah.
I thought that was quite interesting.
That is really interesting to hear. And I was not aware of that, but I like that idea, the honey fund.
Yeah. Yeah. So you can get your dream vacation.
Okay. So at a Korean wedding, after you give your money gift, then if you're friends, especially I think if you're friends with the bride, which I was, I am friends with the bride, instead of going right into the wedding hall and sitting down, you instead go to a special little room beside the wedding hall and take your picture with the bride.
Oh, that's cool.
It's cool. You're like, hey, what's up? Hey, and she's got all of her best friends back there with her and some family members maybe.
Yeah.
But I thought that's a little weird. It's a little different than in Canada. I've never done that before in Canada. Have you ever
No.
done anything like that?
Unless you're in the bridal party, right?
Right.
Like if you're part of the wedding, then you take pictures with the bride and groom because it's part of their pictures, but not everybody takes pictures, like official pictures. Maybe that happened with my cousin's wedding a little bit. Everyone took pictures with the bride and groom, but together. That's not normal. That's not a normal thing.
So pictures are another big difference because the couple in Korea gets all of their wedding pictures done before the wedding.
Whoa.
Yeah. So
Weird.
when I got the wedding invitation, it was just a digital invitation. There was a link to a website that had all of their wedding pictures already done.
Wow.
Yeah.
So weird.
So in the West, how do we do it, Suzanne?
Yeah. So in the West, we might do like engagement pictures before, but you don't do pictures until the day of. Usually the photographer will hang out a little bit with the bride and her friends in the morning, getting ready, take pictures of her getting her veil on and her, dress. All the girls hanging out, doing their makeup and hair. Then the photographer will go to the men's area and take pictures with the men, and then be there throughout and follow you throughout the whole day and ceremony. The reception, people dancing. It's really like a documentary of the day, more so
Right.
than having perfect pictures. Usually after the ceremony, there's a break before the reception, and everyone in the wedding party, so like the maid of honor, the bridesmaids, the groomsmen, and some family members will go to a beautiful location or something like that and do some more stylized photos. And then it's more kind of like candid shots, like people talking and laughing and
Right. More off the cuff.
yeah, totally.
So, Sue, the last thing that I want to highlight here today, something that you just brought up actually, is the reception, because I feel like this is the biggest difference between Western weddings and Korean weddings, because there's no reception in Korea. Or at least
Really?
not in the same way that we know it in the West.
Wow.
Inside the wedding hall, there will be a restaurant, a buffet restaurant, usually. And so right after the wedding, all of the guests go directly to the buffet and share a meal together.
Okay.
But again, like I mentioned, there's 4 or 5 or 6 or 7, 8, 9, 10 different weddings happening at once. So this is a huge buffet restaurant, and there's many, many different people all gathered together to eat food. And some people are from your wedding party, but there's other people from other weddings too. So it's an interesting vibe in the restaurant. But yeah, you just eat a meal and then you go home. There's no music, there's no dancing, there's no bar. It's just,
Wow.
it's not much of a party vibe, where as in the West, once the wedding ceremony is finished, the formalities are over, then it's the celebration, and the reception is really more like a huge party, isn't it?
Yes. Yeah. And it can go on. I mean, in some cultures, like in France, it's like almost all night until like 7 a.m. I mean, sometimes you party all night long. It's a big party, definitely. You have an open bar sometimes, like you just go right up to the bar and get free alcohol, which can be a disaster. You have like your buffet style or a sit-down dinner where like you chose on the invitation whether you'd like to have the beef, the chicken, or the fish or something, or vegetarian.
Often provided by a caterer too, right? A wedding caterer.
Exactly.
Which is a company that specifically cooks food for weddings and parties and events.
Yeah, and my cousin is a pastry chef and does a lot of wedding cakes. So there's usually like a cake person.
Yeah, there's no wedding cake in Korea either.
Oh my gosh,
interesting.
that's
I forgot
the best
about
part.
that.
Like there's a wedding cake, and usually there in the West, I've seen a groom's cake.
A groom's cake. Interesting.
Yeah. So usually the groom's cake is a more fun cake, like something to do with their interest, the guy's interest, like soccer ball or like a big, like a guitar or some like it's usually like a fun cake with like a more interesting, yummy inside, not so classic, a little more fun and funky, usually having to do with the personality or culture or family background of the groom. And then I've been to a lot of weddings where there's a candy bar.
Whoa.
At the end, after the cake, there's like all this candy and cookies, and you have bags, and you can fill up the bag with jelly beans and Swedish fish and all of the yummy gummy candies and chocolate, and take it home with you. And there's also usually like a party favor, right? Like something like some kind of wedding trinket, like sometimes like a knife or a glass with like the wedding
Oh yeah. Sure.
date and names of the people engraved on the glass. So a lot of times you'll get like a little favor from the wedding, like a memento to remember the event.
Yeah, and here favor means just like a little gift, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like a souvenir. And there's always like either a DJ or a band, right?
Lots of dancing.
Lots of dancing. And the DJ will go, okay, for the first dance, it's their first dance as Mr. and Mrs. And then the bride and groom or bride and bride or groom and groom will come up and do their first dance as like an officially married couple.
Right.
And they choose the song. And sometimes they have choreography, which is fun to watch.
Yeah, there's a whole bunch of different some really cute and funny, and some cringe-worthy that you could see on YouTube if you want to look into wedding dances. Yeah.
Disasters. And then there's also another special dance is usually the groom will dance with his mom and the bride will dance with her dad. And that's a special dance and usually very emotional and sweet. That's a special kind of moment traditionally. And there are also weird dances like the chicken dance, right? Like there are these classic weird like line dances and, things that we do traditionally as a group that bring the wedding all together, both sides, bride and groom. There's one other thing that's quite interesting. I just want to say that I found in French weddings, when I've been to France, they do games, which I find really funny.
Cool.
They switch, so the bride takes off her shoes, the groom takes off his shoes, they switch one shoe, so they each have a girl and boy shoe.
Okay.
And they sit back to back. And maybe the best man will ask questions like, who does the dishes the most? And then if they think it's the girl, they'll lift up the girl shoe. If it's the guy, they lift up the guy shoe. And you get to see who thinks differently, right? So like the girl will always be like, I do the dishes. And the guy will be like, I do the dishes. They're back to back. So they don't see what the other one is answering, right?
Sounds like a dangerous game to play at a wedding.
Oh, it's hilarious. It's so fun. And There's also like they take off the garter
Right.
from the bride's leg, and the guy throws it to all of the eligible bachelors in the room.
Right.
And the bride also has a bouquet, and she throws the bouquet to all of the eligible bachelorettes or ladies that are not married in the room as well. And whoever catches the bouquet and whoever catches the garter has a dance together too. So there's lots of dances and traditions in the reception.
Yeah, the reception to me is the best part of the wedding. It can be really fun, and especially if you haven't seen friends or family for a long time. Sometimes these are the only places you get to hang out with people, so it can be a lot of fun.
Yeah, it is a lot of fun. Yeah.
Suzanne, I think we'll have to wrap it up here.
Yeah, that was a lot. Sorry. Kind of went on there for a while.
No, that was all right. It was really interesting, actually, to examine some of these differences between Western weddings and Korean weddings. And hey, all you listeners out there, I know you're from many different countries other than Canada, USA, and Korea, and France. And I would love to know how you do a wedding ceremony in your country. Is it similar to the West, similar to Korea, or completely different? I'm really curious about this. So please send me and Suzanne and the rest of the Culips team an email so that we can learn about how you celebrate weddings in your culture. Suzanne, what's our email address?
So to send us an email, you can send it to contact@culips.com, or you can send us a message on Facebook as well.
That is right. Again, if you would like the study guide for this episode, please visit our website, culips.com, and you can download it there. Okay, that is it for us. We'll be back soon with another Culips episode, and we'll talk to you then. Goodbye, everyone.
Bye, guys.